Yum, yum!
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Pixel Fondue. My name is Chris. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of a lighting setup for a project I'm kind of turning the corner on. I've been working on this one on my free time for quite some time now, and it's starting to come together. Alright, God Emperor of Dune. It's Leto, sometime way before things really got crazy on his transformation. Alright, but I've got this lighting set up and we're going to walk you through that. You don't see anything right now, but before we start, I turn off just about I don't think I need that either. I like to turn off almost everything. This will start with things ticked. I take all of this off so I don't have to see it. I usually just go here, turn that on fast. Let's see, I've got this over here so I can sort of see my scene. There's my camera view. But what you'll notice is all the stuff over here. It looks a little crazy, and it kind of is, but it's a little bit of housekeeping up front will help things go quicker as you start to get into a lighting situation. I come from a traditional painting and drawing and illustration background, and when we draw and paint, we naturally are able to put lights where we want them, give highlights where we want them, things like that. You have a lot of control while you're doing things, and you just do it naturally with what you're doing with your brushes or your or your pencils, drawing, whatever you're using to do your drawings or paintings. You can just control it. 3D, you have to go a little bit extra to take control of your lights, and this is how I do this. If you notice, I've got my locator here with all my mesh files. Right, they're just located here, and I've color coded them. Now all of the mesh items have their own spot in the shader, right? And I want to be able to control these individually, not all together. So what I'll do is each one of these has its own shader, a dedicated shader. Alright, and I'd set up each one of these shaders with its own group, which are these groups, like the eye. It's got the eye group. There's one light in that group. And this one group, based on this, is only included in this group, and this is the only thing that's going to play with that eye light. Right here. That gives me control over the eyes separate. Only things in this group contribute to the light. And you can just work your way down, and it's the same explanation. Just show you real quick. The main Lido place right here, right? It's got its own shader, and it's dedicated to this light group. Only lights in this set will affect this. You'll see it as I go down. Easiest way, excuse me while I cough. Easiest way to show you is to start turning things on and off, right? Here we go. Let's start up here. So let's start with the eye. If I turn on this eye, only, you'll see it down here, only this light is contributing to, that's in this group, contributes to this shader. This is the only one. I have control over what happens there. You see it moving there in preview. Let's see. The horn light's very subtle. I'll open that up. There's 3 sets in this horn light, but only, if you'll notice, only one of them is active. I've got these other 2 there, but I'm not using them. I changed this one around a little bit just for experimentations, but I decided I did not need them in this final piece. So it's a really subtle light that's affecting the specular. I'll show you how that works. Let me see. Point light. There it is. Horn light center. This is the one we're on. If you look at that, you'll see it doesn't affect the diffuse at all. It's 0. I guess I could. Let's see what happens. Turns it up a little bit. Oops. And it's only affecting the specular a little bit. It's at 50. If I go to 100, you'll see it kind of jumps up a little bit. Let's see, let's move on down, turn that off. Now the carapace lights, I decided to turn off. I don't like this is just a little rim light on the sides here. I decided it wasn't necessary. But the LODO lights, these are the money shot ones. And there's only one. I've got these other two here if I needed them, but I decided not to use them. You know, as the lights start to add up in the scene, you'll find you don't need all of them. So this is the one money shot light. Affects everything. It's in the LODO group. The LODO group is set up with this main shader, and this main shader only includes the lights in this group, which is this one. These are there, but they're turned off, remember? All these purple lights are in every group except the eyes, but this one right here is turned off. I did not need that as I started to get going. But anyway, here we are, this money shot light. Let's see where we at. Oh, here it is. It's right there. You know, if I wanted, you can, that one light right there, it changes the scene dramatically. But I want that thing being right over the top. Come down in here. See, it's only affecting that one shader group. And quick, that guy right there, and where is it? Here's the light material. You see, it's actually affecting the specular a little bit more than the affecting the diffuse a little bit more than the specular, and it's giving me a slightly cool shadow color. This here has a big dramatic effect on things. Here, let me show you. You can see that right in here. Shadow color is your friend, really. Let me go back. That little cool color. I gave it a little cool color so it makes it seem like some of this is getting a little bit of a global response to this light shade. But anyway, if I really wanted to blast out the specularity, I could. But I get more control there. Let's see. That's the LODO light. The sheath lights, the sheaths, these things. You see them right here. These I just wanted to have just a little bit of a rim light on it. You'll see what happens. Turn on the sheath light. I've got the two over here, but I turned them off because I don't need them right now. I decided this one was enough. You can see it happens just a little bit on there. If I had this in the shader group that everything was affecting, it would be hard to control what was happening there. Let's see, turn that off. Now the arm lights. I've got two area lights. You see it down here. And 2 point lights. You see what they're contributing to. The little area lights are giving me some of this rim control over on this side. Right here and over here. And these two are just giving me some stuff that's kind of on the top of those fingers and knuckles. But with the shader split out into its own groups and affecting its own shaders, let's see, where are they at? The own shader included only those lights. Gives you a lot of control to be able to tweak things and make things really nice to look at, I think. Let me see where we at. Properties, hold on. If I wanted to, I could really... let me see where we at. Right? Those top lights are only affecting the diffuse a little bit, and I've got kind of a brownish, warm shadow for underneath the hands. Let's see if I change that to a weird blue. Very subtle. Go to 100 on that, see what happens. Opens it up a little bit. But I did not want too much. Specular, if I jumped it up, if I really wanted to press it a little bit, I could. Again, in your light material you get a lot more control. It's not just about how hot the light is. was that 8? Alright, let's see. Let's turn them on and start working them together. Oh, here's this carapace one. I'll turn that on last so you see why I did it. So I had the lights for here, the horns. Really, the horns were very subtle because it's getting lights. Let's see the horns. Let me show you. The horn group, teeth group, horns, teeth, horns. Where are they at? Horn lights are getting lights from the horn light that we had. It's getting a little bit from that center light that affects the whole money shot light, and it's getting this one up here. You'll see it in a second. I'll turn it on. Right. The Lido lights are the main lights. That's my spotlight, really. Sheath lights just give me that little bit of a rim on this. I did not want those to come through too much. The arm lights. The main global, I turn those on, you'll see what it does. I'll probably use these as a separate full render, and then when I bring it into Affinity Photo, I'll have a little control on some spots if I feel the need to do so. But I'll turn this off. Now, you'll see what's happening here. I'll have to do a little bit of something here, I think, too. I want to get a little bit of a light up in here. Right in here, it's a dark spot, so I needed to light that up. Right, so it's the carapace area. It's got this red light. Right, this light here is only affecting these two spots. It's affecting the horn lights a little bit, and it's affecting the carapace lights a little bit. I'll turn it on. You'll see what I was able to accomplish right here. So now I was able to get a little light tweaked in right there. Let me see. I think I'm going to do the same thing with a small light up here at the top, so I can get a little bit of a light. Just a little bit up here I think might be useful. But overall, that's kind of a simple little procedure. You just got to stay organized up front when you get started by setting up your groups, you know. Oh, let's see. I think I actually started making my groups before I put my lights in. Actually, when I was experimenting with the lighting up front just to see how the surfacing was going with my displacement maps from ZBrush and the normal maps, I had lights in there. I ended up deleting all of the lights. Once I had a good set of normal maps and everything was sitting properly and looking okay, once I got that done, I deleted all the lights. And then I started to build my shader groups that I knew I was going to want. I made sure my surfaces all had a shader that was dedicated to it, that was pointing to that shader, which is this thing where you do here. Light group, only this one. Include this. And then, after that, I started to drop lights in. I started to build these little light systems. And up front, I built more than I needed. Then I turned them off as I did not feel a need to use them. But they're still there. I didn't delete them. Notice I didn't delete the stuff yet. And just in case I want to put a little bit more in there, I can turn them on and start tweaking things. Well, anyway, that's been about 15 minutes. And I think you get the idea, right? It all came out to this kind of a thing. And again, I got a lot more tweaking to get involved with here. Side note, I've got a little rig in here that works those hands. I can pose those hands however I want. You can see a little bone system in there. So I've got a lot of control I can monkey with over here. Well, anyway, I'll see you later. Bye.
Yum, yum!